as you know, about 6 months ago, I just did 30 days straight of using Copilot on a Windows-based laptop. I wanted to commit to working out how on earth you use these tools in the real world. Really interesting that I felt within the confines of the laptop. I couldn't get out of the laptop onto my smartphone. What are you finding 6 months on, and how knowledge workers use your tech?
First of all, thank you for having me, and also thank you for nailing the pronunciation of my name. Taking a step back, I think we are in this super early phase of the AI shift. This is like the 1995's equivalent of the internet shift to me, where I see it. And to me, I think what we are starting to see is, for knowledge work, very clearly efficiency gains, right? At organizations, you're saving millions of dollars of money and time, automating workflows. I mean, summarizing documents, meeting notes, etc.
Is Copilot just narrowly a tool for knowledge workers, or are you finding consumers are using it in equal measure?
It's broad, because productivity is not bound by the work organizational boundary, right? But I do think that actually one of the things that we are seeing where the traction is in efficiency for organizations, right? Efficiency at the individual level. Imagine having a digital assistant at work for every employee, right? Which you couldn't afford to have before. The thing that we are seeing, and I'm seeing it with customers talking about it too, is that shift from efficiency to more of effectiveness. Meaning, look, I mean, it's fine, it is great. For example, I can't imagine doing a meeting without the facilitation by Copilot, right? It takes the notes, it carries action items, it tells if you're going off the rails in a discussion, because in meetings that happens all the time. But what I am seeing is that for effectiveness, the key unlock has been these model advances in deep reasoning. Meaning it's not just about faster answers. It's we launched an agent in Copilot called Researcher. Yeah. Think about it as a super smart, intelligent chief of staff in your pocket. And so, for example, I had a customer meeting last week, and this thing went around and kind of scoured the whole web information, but also the email from 3 years ago from the CIO of the customer to kind of pointing an issue and said, make sure you bring that up. I mean, that's the effectiveness. That's superpowers that you didn't have before. That's what
people are getting their superpowers from other places too. And ChatGPT Enterprise, the interesting nature of your relationship with OpenAI, but also them as a competitor, can your customers afford both? Are they affording both?
I think with OpenAI, first of all, we have a great long-term relationship. It's a win-win relationship. We build products on innovative models from OpenAI, the frontier models. Our customers build agents and workflows and AI apps on top of our Azure OpenAI service platform. What I do see at Microsoft is, for us at least, what AI and Copilot is about. Number one, bringing the advanced intelligence, right? That's table stakes. But number two is making sure that it works where you work, right?
Right.
I'm in Teams all day, or I'm in
not
meetings.
Just where you work. So right now, I'm using this thing. This is a smartphone. Various brands are available. In the future, because this is part of your portfolio, which device does Microsoft bet that knowledge workers are actually using for AI tools?
I mean, there's clearly a lot of knowledge work that happens on laptops, on desktops. But then I think we have a mobile app, for example, for the M365 Copilot, the one that you use at work. But I think the other thing I do want to come back to is you can't build all of these on Jenga blocks, right? You have to build this on security, safety, compliance, and governance. And that's the thing I hear all the time from customers. In fact, the phrase that I use internally is we need to innovate at the speed of trust, right? Which means it's an and, right? And at Microsoft, that's I think of as a differentiator, which is how do you innovate, but how do you do it at the speed of trust with governance?
I go back to that and though. Are people having Copilot and other enterprise generative AI offerings right now?
It's a mix, and I would say it's actually a healthy thing right now, because again, think about, I think of AI tools for employees as a contact sport. In fact, I think one of the, you have to get in and use this stuff to actually get the intuition.
That's how I think about it.
The challenge is amazing because, and in fact, we did a study called the Work Trend Index, and one of the things we found is this class of companies, we call them frontier firms. And the big distinction there is that they're they're not thinking of AI as a snack. It's a main meal, right, for their employees. It's an org-wide adoption. It's not this thing off to the side. They're using multiple tools. They're experimenting with things. But at the end of the day, they are also looking at what's the ROI. Where are they getting the governance and the security, and as well as kind of the latest access to intelligence? And that's how I think about like where Microsoft is playing.